All right, Eagle Nation, day 4 in the books. We did not get anything yesterday as it was simply a walkthrough, but today we're back in full action and a couple huge updates for this Eagles team, including one that I think is going to significantly impact how this team performs in 2024. We'll talk about that and everything else you need to know from day 4 of camp, but welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a favor, if you do enjoy this coverage, go ahead down below and like the video. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and continue to stay tapped in with the coverage. But we will start off today with just a couple updates regarding the depth of this team, right? Because that's what we're looking for in this training camp. We know a lot of the positions are already decided, but a couple key ones we're keeping our eyes on. And as of right now, Tyler Steen remains the top right guard for the Philadelphia Eagles. Becton in with the 2s. Zach Bond is still the starting linebacker next to Devin White. I'm not really that confident in that. We'll see how it plays out moving forward, but a couple more updates on that later. And then Keely Ringo was first up again today at CB2. So, you know, he's a dog, literally, right? The Georgia Bulldog, and he's out here fighting for that CB2 spot. We've seen him, Isaiah Rodgers, who took second series today. Also, Quinyon Mitchell with his second straight practice getting first team reps at the nickel. Now, personally, I don't think he's going to end up starting here. Maybe he does, but it seems like the Eagles are more so prioritizing the veteran experience over the youth, and that's okay as long as these guys do develop in to the potential that we expect them to. Quinyon Mitchell, right? You use a first-round pick on him. Cooper DeJean coming back in hopefully a few weeks. These are guys you're going to need to contribute. Even if it's not now, you're going to need it within the next year or two. We would hope, preferably, that they can get on the field this year and impact the game. But right now, it doesn't seem like Quinyon is even getting first-team reps at all when it comes to the cornerback on the outside. So maybe he could play a little bit of the nickel. I mean, Vic Fangio talked about these chess pieces yesterday, and he did say hopefully it plays out in a way where it's obvious, right? And we know who is going to take the job. So we'll just have to wait and see how this cornerback battle plays out. But a lot of guys right now fighting for those couple slots. We'll see what happens. And then in terms of the linebacker, we just talked about Zach Bond, but Jeremiah Trotter Jr., a very good update, is back and practicing. So, you know, he went off 2 days ago, right? And he had cramps, but everybody didn't know because they said he got carted off. Trotter got first team reps last practice, was out there today, and he was back in practice, which is really good to see. But speaking of injuries, okay, the biggest update of today that I feel like nobody's really talking about yet, and I think it's going to really significantly impact this team, is a change within the organization. Jeff McClain reports that Eagles announced Peter DeLuca has agreed to return as the head orthopedic physician. He served in the position for nearly 20 years before the Eagles opted not to bring him and former chief internist Gary Dorsheimer back following the Super Bowl winning season in 2017. Those decisions were controversial as the Eagles were among the healthiest teams in the NFL, and the team endured 3 seasons as having more games lost to injury than most other teams. They turned those numbers around in recent seasons, and that was kind of a byproduct of not practicing as much early, right? Not doing as much training camp stuff and preseason stuff. They weren't really playing the starters, fine. But I remember this, back when it happened, and there's been a couple shuffles since in the organization with, the health staff and the doctors, things like that. But Peter DeLuca is back, and I think the Eagles are trying to make a statement here saying, we can't lose games due to injury. We're going to bring back the experts, the guys that really helped us in that Super Bowl stretch. And Peter DeLuca is known, like he is one of the top guys that this Eagles organization has ever had, in this position. So I think this is actually a huge move. I think the Eagles are trying to continue to learn and transform themselves into a better organization and understanding better ways to go about things. And I can't really say much more than that because I'm not a doctor, but I just know that he is kind of renowned in terms of this business and in terms of what the Eagles have done. So glad to see him back, glad to see him back on the staff, and hopefully this does make an impact and the Eagles don't sustain as many injuries as they did last season. Now let's go ahead and talk about the offense because Jalen Hurts, ladies and gentlemen, is on an absolute heater. We've heard that over the first couple days of camp. Here is a little video of Jalen Hurts getting some throws in with the other quarterbacks. Just doing some drills today. Obviously no pads or anything like that. but his throws have been on point. And Jalen Hurts started today again. Perfect. 4 for 4 in team drills. He was 34 for 37 at one point today in his training camp thus far, with the only 3 incompletions being dropped. So he was literally, again, perfect up to this point. ESP says it was a training camp record, but unfortunately, good things do come to an end. We'll talk about that in a second. Jalen Hurts had a perfect deep pass to Paris Campbell 1v1 today, put it perfectly over his shoulder in stride in the front corner of the end zone. Coverage was great, but the throw and catch was better. And he had a couple of these today. AJ, DeVonta, Jalen's just finding all of his guys and, developing that chemistry and he just seems comfortable. It seems like he's resurging for an MVP-like campaign in 2024. And unfortunately, like I said, the streak had to end. But still, 3 training camp practices, almost full 3 practices with no incompletions that are his fault. That's crazy. Hurts had his first true incompletion of camp on a high pass to Grant Calcaterra. It took 43 throws and 3 full practices. That is insane. If Jalen is locked in like this, if he is dialed in, there is no reason that this team can't be elite this year. Like, he probably has taken in all the noise, all the controversy, all the drama they've tried to stir up. And he's like, oh yeah? Well, watch me. Watch me go do it. Jalen has been incredible, and Kellen Moore doubles down on that, saying that Jalen has been in complete command and control over the first 2 days of practice. He spoke before practice today and said he's been good at the line of scrimmage, making changes, right? It's part of becoming a really good NFL player, a really good athlete in general, is like understanding, the knowledge of the game, the IQ, like becoming a smarter player as well. We always talk about the physical gifts and, can they make this throw? Can they do this? But you also have to be smart up top, right? You have to know when to get rid of the ball, when not to, when to make this read, and when to go this way. Like, there's so much that goes into it on the day-to-day, and we just see Jalen continuing to mature as that type of quarterback. Kellen also makes it sound like AJ and DeVonta will be moving around a ton. We've heard a lot about pre-snap motion. Eagles didn't do any of it last year, and right now they're getting very creative, and I like that Kellen Moore is trying to spice things up. That's what this Eagles team needs. They need to be unpredictable, and Kellen continues to do that with these weapons. Now, he says in terms of the Eagles running back core that they're going to be involved in the passing game, and that we have, quote, 3 backs who can play a lot of different places. That'll be a huge advantage for us. That is, once again, music to our ears, right? You got to get creative. You got to move guys along the line of scrimmage. You have to find ways to throw off these opposing defenses, defensive coordinators. Like, sometimes it's all like a game of chess, like, what are you going to do? What is your strategic move? How are you going to create these mismatches? And again, we just did not get any taste of that last year, and it was so, drastic in terms of the change from the year before, and we know that it's there. We know the Eagles have this talent and these weapons, but they have to get back to doing what works. Can't overthink it. And right now, Kellen Moore is trying to put these guys in the best positions possible. Speaking of these guys, let's talk about AJ. He had a sick one-handed catch along the sideline today. Like I said, AJ, Paris Campbell, Dallas Goedert, all these guys have been involved. Seems like they're all having a very good camp thus far. But of course, the winner today has to be DeVonta. Now, here's a little video of him putting in some footwork drills. I mean, he just has really clean footwork, man. Probably some of the best I've seen in the NFL. He's just sharp. It's clear. DeVonta is a wide receiver one. So is AJ. And I love the fact these guys don't have egos with each other. They just seem to be on the same page. But he had what people are calling the catch of training camp today. They said that he mossed Keely Ringo, who right now is the starting CB2 in these practices, down the left sideline on a throw from Jalen Hurts. And they just apparently said it was a beautiful route, beautiful catch. And DeVonta is just everywhere. He had a couple touchdowns today, couple big catches. He's just everywhere. And we just know DeVonta is that guy. The Eagles are probably going to have 2 1,000-yard receivers again. They have the best tandem in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. I'm putting AJ and DeVonta up against anybody. And when you have these two guys, there is absolutely no reason you should not have more firepower than the team you're playing. There's no reason that you can't find one of these guys one-on-one and every time they can beat their guy. They're just that purely talented. On the other hand, the defensive side of the ball seems to be having a pretty good day as well. They had a better practice than they did yesterday. They had a couple quote-unquote sacks, right? They're not really sacking these guys, but just getting to the quarterback, and they would have been sacked. So a lot of good pressure today. Bryce Huff stepped up. You know, Vic Fangio challenged him yesterday in terms of becoming that every down player. So Bryce Huff putting in some work today. And again, Eagles made a huge investment in him. He's going to have to step up. And lastly, Mr. Accurate, Mr. Confident, Mr. Automatic. Jake Elliott kicked 6 field goals in practice today. He made all of them. 3 of them were 40-plus yards. Jake Elliott back for another season, and he is just, you know, one of the best in the league. Be grateful you have a good kicker. Not always talked about a lot, but really an important position, and a guy who, you know, if the season's on the line and you need one big kick, I'm very confident in Jake Elliott sending it right through the upright. So shout out to Jake Elliott. Shout out to the Eagles. Another solid day at practice. Go ahead and give me all your thoughts down below in the comment section. How confident are you right now after hearing this stuff the past couple days with this Eagles team? We'll continue to bring you all the coverage. That being said, appreciate everybody tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, real quick, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. It is the great BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So go ahead and find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions.